From Spokane, this is KREM 2 News with Beverly, Carr, and Bud Gindhart. Sports with George Kessler and weather with Tim Chuey.
Good evening, everybody. Only an armed robbery in the last 4 hours, about 4.5 hours ago, in fact, to disturb an otherwise quiet night on the police and highway patrol radio dispatch desks. About 6:20 this evening, a thin white male, about 25 years old, wearing a ski mask, brandishing a pistol, made off with a paper bag full of money from the Hillyard Market. Nobody hurt. The suspect last seen driving westbound on Central, off Market, in a dark blue Ford pickup with a white canopy. The search for him continues.
We got a call this afternoon from a worried Mayor Bear who fears that a report of a major motorcycle club gathering in Spokane, scheduled for tomorrow, is being blown entirely out of proportion. As many as 300 members of the Gypsy Jokers Motorcycle Club will gather at Highbridge Park for a memorial service for one of their members who was killed last weekend in Spokane. Local law enforcement agencies are aware of the motorcycle club's plans and will be keeping an eye on them. But the mayor stresses that he has been assured it's to be a peaceful gathering for no other reason than to pay tribute to a fallen member.
And in the city government, a slow, steady shift in attitude on the part of the government may mean that a business and occupation tax could become a reality in Spokane, but not if Councilman Bob Andren has his way. KREM 2 News reporter Don Roberts has more on that.
You had to arrive early to get a seat in the city council chamber last night. Council members probably have city manager Terry Novak to thank for that. Last Monday, Novak told the council that without a business and occupation tax, he would have to take some drastic steps. He would have to start laying off policemen and firefighters, close 2 fire stations, 4 swimming pools, 3 library branches, cut back on street maintenance and lighting, and Parks Department programs, among other things. Responding last night, Councilman Bob Andren, a staunch opponent of the B&O tax, made it clear he was not happy with Novak's presentation.
What the council received was, in my opinion, politically expedient and sent shockwaves of fear throughout the community, and again, in my opinion, totally unnecessary and a blatant lack of forethought and prudent management control on a fat city bureaucracy.
Using what he calls logic and reason, Andren presented his own budget proposal. It centers largely on personnel, the lion's share of the budget. Andren wants an immediate hiring freeze, personnel cuts in a half-dozen or so departments, excluding the police and fire departments, elimination of 2 existing departments, arts and intergovernmental relations, and a voluntary salary freeze for the city manager and his department heads. Novak pointed out that many of Andren's ideas have already been included in his own budget. They finally agreed Andren's proposals would save about $1.5 million. That's still less than half the current deficit. Andren insists there is still more fat to be cut, but he appears to be fighting a growing movement toward the controversial tax.
Please do not decimate these services. Parks and libraries are necessary human services that serve basic needs. Without them, our community could have its social problems snowball.
The council's newest member listened quietly last night, but Jack O'Brien may be heard from later. The way the council seems to line up on the B&O issue now, his may be the deciding vote. With photographer Gary Brown, I'm Don Roberts, KREM 2 News.
Spokane School District 81 is giving its students who haven't had the proper immunization shots one more day to get them. Today was the state-imposed deadline for the immunizations. The Central Valley School District banned 115 of its students from class. District 81 says it still has 319 students in violation of the law, so it has given them until Monday to take care of that, despite the fact that the deadline is set by state law and can't legally be changed.
Shots or no shots, it was time for a celebration this afternoon as students at Cooper Elementary helped dedicate their new school. Theirs was the first of 13 new facilities to be completed for District 81 this year, and they went all out to make it special. One speaker, Ray Morrow, remembered going to Cooper in 1910, a 4-room schoolhouse, quite different from what it is today. Then the kids got in on the act, packing a time capsule with Cooper memorabilia from 1980. And then it was time for the grand finale. Looks like fun.
It does indeed.
Some students in Belgium had an exciting day too, but it's probably one they wouldn't want to relive.
We'll have that report and some pictures of our resident volcano looking very lovely in the snow. Stay with us.
Once you taste the high country, no downstream beer will do. Coors is brewed with pure Rocky Mountain spring water and its own special high country barley.
It's no downstream beer. It's no city beer. It's Coors.
Taste the high country. Climb up to Coors.
Flour, whole grain wheat and rye, bran and flaxseed meal make Roman meal products light brown and delicious.
In each product baked by Roman meat, there's something you can see. The color of the wheat and bran and rye, it's there naturally.
You'll find Roman meal breads and other fresh baked products in the Roman meal section.
Put studs between you and the icy roads with a Perfection retread complete with studs, only $29.99. It's the right snow tire at the right price, and the right place is Perfection.
3 people demanding social justice in Belgium today hijacked a school bus and demanded broadcast time to air their views on the radio. They boarded the bus armed with guns and ordered the driver to a high school where they kidnapped 16 children and their teacher, and then drove 100 miles to the national radio station. As they went into the station, several shots were fired, but in the end, police nabbed the hijackers, the hostages were freed, and nobody was hurt. In Washington, a private highway safety group is charging that the gas tanks in Toyota automobiles need improvements. The group says rear-end collisions involving Toyota Corollas and Coronas made between 1966 through 1978 have caused fires which killed at least 36 people. The National Highway Safety Administration says it's looking into the problem, but that no conclusions have been reached.
After 3 days of on-again, off-again debate, the House is set next Monday for the final up or down vote on the Northwest Regional Power Bill. Bureau Chief Don Porter followed today's action on the House floor.
The clerk will report the amendment.
An amendment offered by Mr. Weaver of Oregon.
Before an increasingly restive House, Weaver again sought to amend the Regional Power Bill. Today he called for voter approval of financing for big energy projects. For example, the Whoops nuclear plants in Washington.
I simply say that we can resolve this issue if we allow the people to vote before we go into any more of this billions and billions and billions of dollars of debt.
But, as before, Northwest congressmen in favor of the bill helped defeat all proposed amendments.
All those in favor signify by saying aye. Opposed, no. Noes appear to have it. The noes have it, and the amendment is not agreed to.
After 2 hours of this, tempers grew short.
Unless his amendment is adopted, he is not going to stop harassing the committee.
Well, will the gentleman yield?
Point of order, Mr. Chairman.
I
believe that the language being used is out of order.
Ohio. I'd have to say that the harassment is not just the committee, it's the whole House, but
Finally, House leaders cut off debate and listed the power bill for an up or down vote Monday. Unamended, the bill remains acceptable to the Senate, so the House vote remains the last legislative hurdle. In this sudden death phase of the proceedings, backers of the power bill need a 2/3 majority in order to win it all. But opponents of the bill can kill it with 1/3 plus 1. So it looks like another weekend of intensive lobbying from both sides. I'm Don Porter on Capitol Hill.
In Washington state politics, Governor Dixie Lee Ray has made few, if any, public appearances since her primary defeat in September. But her $250 a day speechwriter, Charles Boyle, has been granted a 3-month extension on his contract. The $15,000 contract may be the easiest job in the state right now. The governor has no planned speeches for the remainder of the year, and the only writing for the state still to be done is a report on Ray's 4th year in office. Similar reports have been prepared in the last 3 years without Boyle's help. Warning, living in Idaho may be good for your health. Merle Sargent, a University of Idaho researcher, has come up with some pretty surprising statistics. Sargent says that in spite of few major hospitals and the fact that a large population works in hazardous jobs, Idahoans seem to be healthier than the rest of the United States. Ms. Sargent reports residents of rural Idaho tend to have substantially lower death rates concerning cancer, heart disease, diabetes, or stroke, but about a 50% higher instance of accidental deaths and suicide. Her study indicates, too, that rural living, as opposed to city living in Idaho, is not necessarily healthier, as you might think.
There was a time, about this time last year, in fact, when the top of Mount St. Helens was a perfect snow cone, picture perfect, in fact. That was several eruptions and a lot of lives ago, yet winter has once again brought a mantle of white beauty to the brooding mountain. Visual proof from King Northwest correspondent Boyd Levitt.
The weather was perfect for a wintry look at the volcano. The snow measures a few feet deep over the peak, casting an icy look to what once was a searing desert environment. Inside the crater, steam circles around fumaroles and cracks. It's not hot enough to keep the snow away from the central volcanic vent. There is even snow right on top of the lava. Today, scientists report no seismic action, no quakes, no little rumbles, no major avalanches, no swelling anywhere on the volcano.
It occurred to us here at News 8 that few people have actually heard the sounds of the volcano. Not the sounds of the big blast last May, but the sounds of the ash eruptions that took place over the summer and this fall. Well, during the most recent ash eruption in mid-October, News 8 soundmen Tom Morris and Pat Freeman made a tape of it.
News 8 has electronically removed noises that do not belong to the volcano. What's left, the actual sound of an eruption. What you hear are the sounds made by rocks, pumice flying out of the crater, the sound of wind associated with the vertical movement of the ash, and the low rumbles of the earth itself. I'm Boyd Levitt, News 8.
Let's hope we don't see that for a while.
Yes, that's not. Did he say snow?
He said snow.
I think he said
snow. Right. I think we ought to give the mountain some Tums and maybe it'll just quiet down altogether. As a matter of fact, Bev has been jumping up and down all night.
I heard snow. Wow.
Yes, there have been reports north side of town.
I didn't
well, pretty
say that.
close, you know. Anyway, by Bev's thought, you'd think there was about 6 feet of snow on the ground already. There isn't. We just had a little dusting on the north side. The airport got some. I didn't see any snow yet, but I'm sure there's some out there. Weather's next.
For more than 85 years, people like you have been trusting IDS to help them reach their financial goals with personal financial analysis, business financial planning, or estate planning. IDS money management ideas can help you reduce your taxes and beat inflation. You don't need a lot of money. Just be serious about your financial success. To put your local IDS financial planning consultant to work for you, call us today.
Are you tired of cut fingers from misstrokes?
We're a lumberyard, a hardware store, a nursery all-in-one, and we've got sporting goods for having fun.
'Tis the season for holiday fix-up savings at Ernst. Right now, Super Tough Lucite wall paint is just $9.99 a gallon. Lucite interior enamel is specially priced for only $12.99 a gallon. Need a secure place to store your valuables? Get this compact, fireproof Sentry Safe for just $99.88.
At Ernst Home Centers, we help you get things done.
All that snow got into the machinery, I guess. No, light, almost invisible snow showers sighted at the airport this evening. We do have confirmed reports, though, from honest citizens that say it snowed. All right, just a little bit. Maybe more coming up later tonight, but definitely looks like a good chance of it coming by Sunday. Not a lot on the ground, but maybe just enough to make it look white. Currently in Spokane, cloudy skies, temperature at 27 degrees. No snow shower occurring at the airport right now, sorry to say, for those who are all excited about it. And the winds right now are from the northeast at 4 miles an hour, barometer 30.39 inches of mercury and rising, relative humidity at 96%. Trace of snow measured at the airport today, 91/100ths of an inch of melted precipitation, all rain anyway, so far this month. Morning low of 19 at 4:30 this morning. The average is 29 for this date. 38 was the high at 2 p.m. 42 is normal there. Now, the front is moving eastward, coming toward us. It's bringing some snow along with it, but not an awful lot at this point. What's going on is out at Mount Rainier, they reported about 3 inches of snow on Paradise, okay? And that's not really an awful lot for them. Paradise Lodge gets more than that normally in any kind of snowfall. Traces reported at Yakima, also up at Spokane here, and at the Dalles in Oregon. So not an awful lot to see on this. It doesn't look like much more is going to come out of it, but the next one will cause more. Partly cloudy skies coming up tomorrow for the west side. They'll start to see an improvement, at least for a while. Then a high-pressure ridge, small one, will form for the day tomorrow. And then Sunday, a new system will come in. That'll bring more precipitation and a better chance of snow for us anyway. Snow level in the mountains near 4,000 feet on Saturday. Near the surface, though, on the eastern slopes of the Cascades, as that wind comes dropping down off the side of it. And right now for Cayuse and Chinook passes, approved traction devices required. Enough snow there to cause problems. Approved traction devices recommended for Sherman Pass and for the North Cascades Highway, which closes fairly soon anyway this time of the year. Chance of snow showers in the east tonight, then back to the low clouds and fog early in the day tomorrow with afternoon clearing. That high-pressure ridge, very temporary tomorrow, will help us out for a while. And then the new front will come in. That'll bring a better chance of rain and possibly snow showers on Sunday night. Partly cloudy skies through Idaho and Montana with some snow showers in the higher elevations of the mountains. Up in Edmonton, high tomorrow around 0 Celsius, which is 32 Fahrenheit. That's because they'll have sunshine. As you go farther down from Calgary right to the border, look for a chance of some snow showers, highs around 2 to 4 degrees Celsius. There's what it looks like on our map. Here's the front that's already coming toward us. There's the second one. That's the one that'll be here on our side anyway, sometime probably late in the day, Sunday at the earliest. 2 inches of snow on the ground in Denver, Colorado. Most of the snow throughout the rest of the country is going to kind of taper off in the next 24 hours. Tropical storm Jean, sitting right off Brownsville, Texas by about 175 miles, has sent quite a bit of moisture into the Gulf area. 3 inches of rain today in Little Rock, Arkansas alone. A record high of 83 down in New Orleans because of all that warm air being pumped up. And it's expected to kind of mix in with the moisture down in southern Texas tomorrow and kind of die out. Warmest spot in the country today, 87 degrees. That was down in Texas. And the hottest spot, coldest spot rather, in the country was 5 below 0 at Butte, Montana. The forecast, increasing clouds, of course, that chance of light snow, 30% chance tonight and early tomorrow morning. Then back to the fog and low clouds. 23 for our low, and that low will be probably early in the day tomorrow rather than tonight. 35 the high tomorrow, 35 again as we get on to Sunday. And Monday through Wednesday, we can look for conditions to become a little rainier, chance of rain or snow flurries there. Today's Call of the Weather winner is 6-year-old Jerry Martin of Worley, Idaho. And I guess we can just say for any sporting events over the weekend, bundle up.
Bundle up.
Bundle up.
They had some exciting sporting events tonight. I guess
sure did.
Gonzaga Prep is pretty excited about what
Believe me,
happened.
we were bundled up tonight at Albee Stadium, that's for sure. Yeah, it'll be a happy ride back from Wenatchee for Gonzaga Prep. But it was a sad night for Shadle Park, and we'll have more on all that in sports next.
Do you realize that if you put only $15 a week in a Lincoln savings account that you'll have over $10,000 in just 10 years? Now you think about that. Sure, it's tough to come up with 15 bucks every week, but that's why the folks at Lincoln wrote this book, 17 foolproof ways to save. Why, it's filled with ways that you never thought of to save money. And it's free at any Lincoln branch. So you see, you really don't have to save a lot. You end up with a lot at Lincoln Mutual.
Attention, attention, Washington residents. Gigantic public stereo and waterbed sale is being conducted, 3622 North Division, Spokane. Everything ordered sold, wall to wall, and it's happening today. Complete home stereos, $188. Car stereos, $29. Home speakers, $8. Save 60, 70, 80% of value. Name brand such as Pioneer, Scott, Sensui. Over 200 waterbeds ordered sold. Waterbed sheets, $29.95. Algicide, 99 cents. Never before, never again waterbed deals like these. Time payments available on approved credit in this gigantic public sale conducted at 3622 North Division, Spokane. Open late 7 nights a week.
Are you tired of cut fingers from misstrokes? Crying while you slice onions? Getting tangled in all those cords from those handy kitchen appliances? Well, Kohler Tower United can rescue you from the dungeon of your kitchen with the new Tone food processor, the built-in food processor. From slicing to dicing, from breading to shredding, the new Tone food processor does it all. You'll save time in the kitchen and save money when you buy during the big anniversary sale going on now at Kohler Tower United.
Here comes Wrangler, and he's one tough customer. Half lean and thick, that's clean, yeah.
Well, there won't be a Greater Spokane League rematch next week at Albee Stadium between Shadle Park and Gonzaga Prep, but the Bullpups will be there to meet Richland. The Bombers used a strong first quarter, then held on as the Highlanders gave them a scare, but Richland came out on top 49-34. Richland turned 3 early turnovers into first quarter scores. The first followed an interception of a Mark Rippon aerial. Then, following a second interception, the Bombers, who put tremendous pressure on Rippon all night, put another score on the board with only 6 minutes left in the first quarter. The Bombers, who were the runners-up in the Big Nine, had a 14-0 lead. The third turnover in a disastrous quarter came when Richland stormed through to block a punt. And the ensuing touchdown pass to wide receiver Kurt Kafensis made it 21-0 and had everybody wondering what is going on here. The Highlanders finally got on the board with 6 minutes left in the half when Dan Fuller went in for the score, but it was 28-7 at the half. After a Bomber fumble on their first possession of the second stanza, Vince Barranco took it in and it was 28-14. Following another Richland score, Mark Rippon then went back and hit Steve Volkacek with a 31-yard bomb, and it was 35-21. Scots were within 7 when Mark found his brother Tim for a 50-yard touchdown pass. But Richland scored again. Another Fuller touchdown made it close, but Richland iced it with a touchdown in the final minute, and we'll be back next week to meet Gonzaga Prep, who used their ground game to the utmost and turned a 17-halftime lead into a 45-31 win. In other games, Frontier League champion Clarkston picked up yet another shutout, downing Sunnyside. No score on that Prosser Olympia game. Riverside picked up a 20-0 win over Zelia and moved on to round 2, while Colfax fell to second-ranked Kashmir. Liberty Spangle down Cooley Heartline in Class B action tonight, and St. John Endicott picked up a big shutout over Bridgeport. That score was 40-0. And one other score I want to report, that the top AAA team in the state, Mount Tahoma, was a 40-0 winner tonight over Capital. The Seattle Supersonics got back on the winning track tonight as they donned the visiting Kansas City Kings 127-125. Jack Sikma had a career-high 35 points on his 25th birthday. In other action, Larry Bird had 22, Robert Parrish 18 as Boston beat New Jersey. Mike Banham had 29, while teammates Billy Knight and George Johnson chipped in with 26 apiece as Indiana got by Washington. And the Pistons had 6 players in double figures as they downed Chicago. How's this? Dallas won their 3rd of the year, beating Portland, broke a 10-game losing streak, and had 4 different players score 19 points. The Blazers have lost all 7 of their road games, and Milwaukee beat New York. Adrian Dantley had 43, and Ron Boone hit 3 free throws in the final 20 seconds as Utah beat Houston, and the Lakers downed San Diego. In the National Hockey League tonight, the Canucks and Canadiens played to a 3-all tie, while Colorado cooled off the Red Hot Blues, and the Rangers scored with 9 seconds left to tie the Penguins. Finally, the Flyers, despite 7 Brandon goals in the final period, won their 3rd of the year, 10-9. In a couple of other games, basketball games tonight, Bud, the Spokane Cyclones wheelchair team came from behind. They won their game 37-33. The University of Idaho downed the Canadian athletes in action 65-63. They'll be up here tomorrow night to play Gonzaga.
Thank you, George. A busy night. We'll have more news for you right after this.
HAV Western Wear, Sprague & Sullivan in the Valley, is getting ready for their big move.
They'll be closed this week, but next Monday they'll be in their new store in the Jafco Center. Plan on saving more in their new store next Monday. HAV is on the move this week, but just the Valley store. Heritage Village store, business as usual. HAV Western Wear, Sprague & Sullivan in the Valley and at the Y.
Heard of Hoyt's? A Hoyt's is not a hamburger. A Hoyt's certainly isn't a pizza. A Hoyt's isn't finger-slipping chicken. A Hoyt's certainly isn't a taco. A Hoyt's is a Hoyt's, a sandwich plus. And to help celebrate our anniversary this Friday and Saturday, you can buy all Hoyt's sandwiches for half price. That's right, the best sandwich in town for half price. And if you've never tried a Hoyt's, now's the time at either Hoyt's, 3rd floor of the Flour Mill, or South 504 Main in Moscow, Idaho. A Hoyt's is a Hoyt's.
Washington Mutual's Better Than Checking is now better than ever. You not only get pay by phone at no extra charge, now you get the use of our new exchange cash machines at no extra charge. And remember, with Better Than Checking, you earn interest on your spending money. Family business is our business. Washington Mutual Savings Bank.
Get Better Than Checking. You'll get pay by phone, and now the new exchange cash machines, both at no extra charge.
Here comes Wrangler, and he's one tough customer. He likes life lean and a fit that's clean, yeah. When he says jeans, he means Wrangler.
Wrangler's honest styles were born in the West to look their best anywhere, top to bottom.
Here comes Wrangler, and he's one tough customer, and he knows what he likes when he sees it. Wrangler.
Remember earlier this week, Bud told us about the poor bird in Maine that was being flown south for the winter? Well, I guess it was all true.
In Fort Myers, airport officials maintained tight security as everyone waited for the famous bird. They took every precaution in case the unfortunate happened, but it didn't, and newly named Winky the Snowbird arrived at Fort Myers Airport in high style, making the flight in the cockpit as the personal guest of the pilots. Winky then received a VIP escort to the lobby, where I assumed responsibility for the ex-Maine resident. One of the bird's crewmates, Captain Morris, thought the whole trip was a lark, but he said the robin didn't seem to mind.
So, he thanked us for the ride. He said it was a lot easier than flying down here. He said the last time he came down, he had to work pretty hard at it. Yeah.
Word soon leaked out who had arrived in town. Other celebrities arrived to greet the new tourist. But because I really don't know much about birds, for the snowbird's sake, the local nature center took responsibility, and they knew what they wanted.
If it's real tame and used to people, he might not know how to catch food on his own. So we're going to see how he is and see what we can do for him tomorrow.
True to her word, Jones gave the bird, now determined to be a female, her physical, after which she pronounced the robin fit to fly, on her own wings this time. And 12 hours after landing in Fort Myers, with an escort circling overhead, Winky began to fly free. But not for long. The stress of flight proved too much for her, and she dropped from fatigue 2 hours after her solo takeoff. But Winky will receive a special diet and get another shot at freedom on Monday. Patrick Frazier reporting for CBS News.
And finally tonight, more proof of what you see on the silver screen doesn't necessarily bear on the reality of what actually was. Actor Art Carney has finished his role in the movie St. Helens. Carney plays the part of 83-year-old Harry Truman, but the picture of Truman has a Truman owning a bunch of dogs. However, any reporter who had visited Truman before he and the Spirit Lake Lodge were swept into by the eruption of May 18th know that he only had cats and a couple of raccoons, but not dogs. Why dogs, you ask? Because the producer is allergic to cats, so he just took some liberties.
Too many liberties.
Too many indeed. Have a nice weekend, everybody. Good night.
Good night.
Good night.
This is J.C. Penney.
This Saturday night, shop your favorite Spokane JCPenney 6:30 to 9 for special savings like these. 26-inch 10-speed bike, sale price at $59.99. Polyester blankets, twin or double, only $6.88. A special closeout on Big Mac flannel shirts. Ladies pull-on pants, only $3.99. The stores will be closed from 6 to 6:30 getting ready for the sale, but the doors will swing open at 6:30 sharp for some of the best buys of the season.
This is JCPenney.
Paul Newman in the Life and Times of Judge Roy Bean, tomorrow at 11:15.